How's it going? I'm Connor Eyzaguirre, and welcome to 10,000 Flicks, my own personal cinematic journal. Today's fare is my first real dud of this project, 2012's Cosmopolis, a David Cronenberg stream of consciousness disaster starring Robert Pattinson and featuring little appearances by such actors as Kevin Durand, Samantha Morton, Paul Giamatti, and a lot of other people I'm sure I missed because my attention was pretty half-assed, not gonna lie. But when a film is this boring, it's hard to stay invested for long. Where should I begin? How about here? I absolutely hate this kind of filmmaking. When a director is just whipping his intellectual dick out and stroking it in front of an audience, I don't want to see it. I hate pointless, meandering, just whatever pops into your fucking head kind of movies. I want structure. I want a story. I want relatable characters. I want something interesting. And Cronenberg's track record is mostly really good. I've seen most of his classics now. I love The Fly. Fantastic movie. One of the greatest horror movies of all time. Maybe the greatest remake ever. I'm one of the few people who really didn't dig Videodrome or Scanners. I don't know. I've given Videodrome 2 chances now. I'm not into it, and I've only seen Scanners once, but I thought it was ridiculous and unfinished. Love The Dead Zone. Underrated as hell. One of my favorite King adaptations. Eastern Promises. Fantastic gangster flick. History of Violence. Fantastic gangster flick. Fucking hated Crimes of the Future. For the same reasons I hated Cosmopolis. It's just intellectual, over your head nonsense. It's like Cronenberg thinks everybody who's watching these movies thinks the same way he does. And that's just not true. I remember going to see Crimes of the Future with Colton. We I think that was our first one. Yeah, it was our first one. We've had a track record of going to see, like, by accident, really high conceptual horror that doesn't quite make sense to us. It was Crimes of the Future, and then we saw Skinamarink. And watching him get freaked the fuck out by moments of that movie was the highlight of my evening. And that was my birthday. Anyway, Crimes of the Future was, we both were just like, why did we pay money for this? Because we both walked away kind of unsure of what to say, because we were both, I think, felt guilty about, inviting the other to see this dud. But hey, movie watching's a gamble. I mentioned it on my first episode of this. You're basically panning for gold in a mountain of shit, and you're probably not going to find a lot of gold, but the journey, the quest, it's worth it just for the chance of finding that gold. I'm doing this. I'm watching 10,000 fucking mostly terrible movies because I want to find a gem that is going to last me the rest of my life. Something I'm going to be talking about for 30 minutes to an hour, just gushing about it. And yeah, we're only like 4 or 5 into these things, so it's going to take some time. On that note, I do want to mention, I'm no longer a liar. I did hit 10,000 flicks on my list. Actually, 10,008. So we are above the 10,000 mark. This is officially a 10,000 flicks journey. Okay, that's enough of that. Cronenberg. Did he just get lucky with The Fly? Was Eastern Promises and History of Violence more successful, in my eyes because of the writing? Cronenberg didn't write those scripts. He wrote this one. I hate, fighting against the grain with established filmmakers like Cronenberg. It always makes me look like the asshole. But I'm not going to kiss ass because it's expected. Just because you're a film buff doesn't mean you need to love David Cronenberg or, any of these other directors who, in my eyes, don't make work worth celebrating all that much. I mentioned a couple in my Letterboxd review, which let's go ahead and get to that now. 2 out of 5 stars, and I am being very generous with that. I don't know why. maybe I got a soft spot for Pattinson. Here we go. With every film I watch of David Cronenberg's, the more I start to think he got very, very lucky with The Fly. So many of his films, particularly his later work, are exceedingly boring and nonsensical. They seem to take place in a parallel universe where everybody speaks in fucking riddles and lives to be as vague and devoid of personality as possible. Cosmopolis stands solely on the performance of Robert Pattinson, and he only did the film to prove he could step out of Edward Cullen's sparkly shadow. Cosmopolis makes no sense. Cosmopolis has no structure. It's just a 2-hour intellectual jerk sesh. Pattinson plays a wealthy investment banker or something who is on his way to a haircut, but his limo ride keeps getting interrupted by interesting characters who all have something to say about his life and the way he lives it. It's a great roster of character actors too, from Kevin Durand to Samantha Morton to Paul Giamatti. But I never gave a fuck what they have to say, because I don't know who they are. Maybe you have to read the novel to give said fuck. I can take when a film is somewhat dull, I can take when it's weird, but I despise stream of consciousness style filmmaking, where the director just points and shoots whatever comes into their heads or the actors' heads. It's how Godard and Fellini did it, now Cronenberg is doing it. This kind of filmmaking just creates the cinematic equivalent of bad teenage poetry. Maybe I'm being too harsh. I don't know. I know, I've got buddies who love this kind of filmmaking where a director just points the camera and makes something. I find it lazy and self-indulgent. I think screenwriting is probably the most important part of the filmmaking process. If you don't have a tight, concise, well-written script, you don't have anything. And, not everybody believes that. Not every filmmaker is going to follow that kind of structure. If they all follow that kind of structure, we wouldn't, every film would be exactly the fucking same, and that's not what I want. I want originality, I want creativity to stand out, but not at the expense of story and character development. But, I'm a writer. That's probably where that comes from. If I was a, painter or some other artistic shit, I probably wouldn't care as much. But I'm not, so I do. I watched this film in my apartment surrounded by moving boxes. I'm packing up my shit, moving to Austin, Texas in a few weeks. Very excited. So little by little, my apartment is coming down, going into boxes. Poured myself a big drink, sat down, watched most of the film, and then I started to crash. And I fully intended to do this whole thing yesterday evening. I paused the movie to go to the bathroom, came back. There was still a half hour left on this fucker, and I couldn't believe it. I thought we were near the end. We weren't. And I had Star Wars Rebels I would much rather be watching. So I hit pause, turned it off, said, fuck it, I will finish this tomorrow. Finished Star Wars Rebels, great ending, very excited. Started The Bad Batch, really enjoying that so far. And then after work, came home, finished this thing after watching a couple episodes of Family Guy to make myself happy, preparing for the last bit of this unfortunate ride that I just did not enjoy taking. And lo and behold, did not enjoy the rest, found it incredibly hard to focus, did not know what the fuck was going on. I don't know anybody's name in this movie. And if you don't know anyone's name, you can't, sympathize, you can't empathize, you can't connect. I don't understand how that's appealing to anybody. Oh, it's frustrating, especially since you can't really, talk anyone off the ledge with these movies. They're either going to be fully immersed and just go with it, or they're going to be like me. So there's no, middle ground here. You're either in or you're out. So I really don't have much else to say about Cosmopolis other than it's boring as fuck. If you want to watch it for yourself, you can stream it on Tubi or Hulu. I prefer Hulu because no ads. I have a few notes here. I can mention something about the first bit of dialogue. Technically, is a bit of wording that appears on the screen at the beginning of the movie, and it says, it's a quote from some poem: "A rat became the unit of currency." Ugh. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, I'm gonna fucking hate this. And I was right. Turns out, I'm not psychic, but I do have pretty good instincts with this shit. It's pretty cool to see Robert Pattinson and Kevin Durand together. It's not a duo I would have expected to see. Pattinson's some wealthy dude. Durand is his bodyguard who keeps trying to avoid the presidential motorcade that's coming through town. I guess. I don't know, man. Side note, I really enjoyed Robert Pattinson's Batman portrayal that feels like it came and went. I mean, it was a big success. Everyone was talking about it at the time, but no one's talked about it since, really. Like, everyone's been more focused on, Michael Keaton's return to the role in the upcoming Flash film, as well as Ben Affleck's final portrayal of the character in the same movie. Pattinson got overshadowed, James Gunn's going to go in a different direction with his Batman movie, so Pattinson's just over here with a fantastic performance that is almost lost. So until Matt Reeves gets to make his sequel, keep it alive. Keep Batman in your hearts. Pattinson, or whatever you want to call him. Back to Cosmopolis. There's a bit where a guy gets stabbed in the eye repeatedly on live North Korean television. I think he was supposed to be some politician. I don't know. It was weird. It was very Cronenberg. He finds a way to incorporate some sort of body horror into every single one of his films. Samantha Morton spouting economics and philosophy while dramatic music plays is very on brand with Samantha Morton. She always plays very intense, intelligent characters. I think most people who aren't, hardcore movie buffs like myself probably know her best as Alpha from The Walking Dead, which she did a great job portraying that sadistic fuck. I remember seeing her in some horror movie from 2013 called The Harvest with Michael Shannon. Not a very memorable film. It had elements of like a kind of a Hansel and Gretel type situation. It was very strange, but she was great in it. There's a pastry assassin. Matthew Amalric plays a drive-by pie assassin who throws a cream pie at Pattinson's face and then claims that he's done the same to presidents and celebrities, and there's no structure to this thing. It's just moving from one hard to explain situation to the next until we end with Paul Giamatti wearing a towel who might shoot Pattinson in the head. I don't know. Pattinson kills his bodyguard at one point, kind of weird. And then, right in front of some kids playing a pickup game in the streets, and they just kind of walk away, and that's never addressed again, because of course it's not. And then, as I said, Paul Giamatti shows up at the end and is like, my penis is retracting into me, and Pattinson's like, show me, and Giamatti's like, I don't have to show you anything, I believe it. And at that point I'm like, 2 hours of my life have gone by, and I'm still here. I'm still in this weird-ass world. I could have watched anything else and had a better time, probably. Even the stupidest comedy or horror movie, there's entertainment value in there somewhere, at least once. You're not just dragging the audience. What's that term for when, I think it's when you're getting flogged, when you're like thrown off the back of the pirate ship and dragged along the water. That's what it feels like watching these movies. You are dragged along the cinematic ocean with Cronenberg just chaining your feet together and saying, watch my movie, I'm a genius. I can't, there's no more benefit of the doubt for these guys. These auteurs who think, I can film whatever I want and people are going to eat it up because I've already made so many masterpieces. It doesn't matter what I do next. No, every film matters. Every single film matters to a director's legacy, to their filmography, to their respect. And I lost respect for David Cronenberg with this movie. So until he, I'm digging his son's work much more. Like Brandon Cronenberg's turning out some weird shit, but well-structured weird shit. Possessor was fantastic. I've yet to see Infinity Pool, but I heard it was really good. I'll get to that. It's in the list. Everything is in the list. Oh, boy. Well, that's all I've got to say about Cosmopolis. The duds are going to be prevalent here. Hopefully I get more, better films, but if I get another dud, hopefully it's a dud with more to talk about. Next up is not a random pick. It is a recommendation from my good friends Austin and Adam Johnson, Filmgazm contributors and co-hosts, who really, really, really want me to watch the 2002 comedy Stealing Harvard. So I'm gonna. Number 8,449 on my 10,000 Flicks watch list. every film ever. Well, not every film ever, but most of them are in that list. Anything that somebody in my circle is going to talk about or y'all are going to recommend to me. Odds are it's going to be in there, but if you want me to expedite something, all you got to do is let me know. Send me a message on the socials, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Filmgazm Productions, or you can email me at filmgazm@gmail.com. And, or, shoot me a message at Letterboxd as well, Connor95. I'm there all the time. They've warned me about Stealing Harvard, that your first viewing might be stupid and nonsensical and make me hate the movie, but a second view may just win me over. I don't have the kind of time. You're getting one watch for now. One watch and then an episode. Hopefully, it's funny. I don't know. With me, admittedly, I am hard to please. But sometimes, maybe not. Maybe I'm not hard to please. Maybe everyone around me just thinks I'm hard to please, and now I'm convinced I am. Because most of the films I like are pretty simple stuff. But, maybe now, after watching so many movies, I have too high expectations. I don't know. That is some introspective shit that I don't have time for right now. We'll be back next time with Stealing Harvard. Well, the royal we. I'll be back. Take it easy. Check out the rest of our stuff. We've got content coming all the time. And, yeah.